Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Techno Talks here. So in front of us today, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. So originally this was supposed to arrive on February 7th. However, I did get it early, like a lot of people, which is what I've been seeing on X. And I did get it today, which is going to be January 30th. So it's always nice to get this device early. Starting off the price, once again, this does go for $1,300. So it is definitely a flagship price and even one of the more expensive flagships. However, let's go ahead and see if it's actually worth it. Honestly, I have been reading up a lot about this device even before it arrived at my doorstep and watching some reviews. And compared to the S24 Ultra from last year, usually what people are saying and what Samsung themselves actually basically said in their whole presentation, they don't really have much, and this device is mainly capable of all these AI features, which honestly I'm not really a fan of. So let's go ahead and open this up. I do have one of the Samsung exclusive colors. I did go for titanium jet black, and I do think that is the color of the year. Taking a look at the packaging, very nice and simple, just an outline of the S25 Ultra and our S Pen right here, which actually has been downgraded as well. Says the Galaxy S25 Ultra down there. On the back we do get some information which we don't really need, and if we do go ahead and open this up, wow, this is a beautiful device. So last year I did go for the natural titanium color. This year I did go back to their darker colors, and the jet black with these black side rails and the black back is looking really nice. This is looking really nice and premium. Again, straight away, one of the things I'm noticing are going to be these camera rings right here. So they didn't really change the cameras up too much except for the ultra wide lens, which is now a 50 megapixel lens. So that does have a higher resolution and it should take some better pictures, which is what I've been seeing with all these camera tests going around. And again, I'm not sure if I'm a fan of those camera rings. They do come in black for all of the colors. I wish they were kind of color matched. As you can see right here, compared to the S24 Ultra, the camera rings are a lot smaller, and I do really think this looks a lot better. But again, this is what Samsung went ahead and went for. And now that I look at it a little more, I kind of do think it looks like one of those lens protectors that people put on their phones, and I'm not really a fan of that. So I think that's going to be something I have to get used to. Other than that, we do have our Corning Gorilla Armor 2 on the back of this device. And we also do have it on the front of this display, so it does have some stronger drop protection compared to the S24 Ultra. We still do get that anti-reflective display. They haven't really changed it, is what I'm hearing, and I will go ahead and compare that in a bit. Another design change they went for is they went ahead and put this antenna on the left side before it was on the bottom. I do think that's going to be a better position for the connection. We do have our microphone holes up top. On the right side, obviously in Samsung style, we have our power button on the bottom and our volume marker up top. On the bottom, we do have our S Pen, we have our USB-C charging port cut out, and they also went ahead and put the SIM tray hole on the right side this time. Before it was right next to the microphone, and I didn't do it, but I did hear a lot of news about people misjudging which one was the actual SIM tray hole and actually messing up their microphone. We also do have our speaker right here, and again, our S Pen down here, which is looking really nice and flush. Before diving deeper, let's go ahead and see what we get inside this box. It's probably just a charging cable and our SIM ejection tool, is what I'm guessing. Yes, so we do have a USB-C to C charging cable in there, and then we do get our SIM ejection tool. On that topic, I did recently review the OnePlus 13 right here. So this device is OnePlus's flagship device. It goes for $899, so $400 cheaper compared to the S25 Ultra. You still do get all the great specs, and in the box, they do include a fast charging brick and a fast charging cable. So honestly, this is what Samsung should be doing, but unfortunately they're going the Apple way and actually removing a lot of things inside of their boxes. So I still haven't really gotten used to Samsung doing that, and it still does annoy me. All right, let's go ahead and remove this display film. Nice and satisfying removal, and honestly one of my favorite parts in this unboxing. And right away I can tell you that that anti-reflective coating, especially with a brand new display which hasn't been used, looks really nice. Here is a comparison to my OnePlus 13, and as you can see, that reduces the reflectiveness by a whole bunch compared to the OnePlus 13 on the right. Both the displays are turned off. This is just so much better, and this helps out in bright situations. Even though the brightness might not be as high, or the peak brightness might not be as high as some other devices, Samsung has done a great job with this. Here's a look at it with my S24 Ultra. This is a little more used. As you can see, my fingerprints have been on there. I do have to wipe it off, but again, if I do compare these two, they do look very similar, so not really seeing too big of a difference. I don't really think Samsung has done much to that anti-reflective coating, but again, it's still great nonetheless. Powering this bad boy on for the first time. While this is powering on, I do want to talk about some of the specs. So in the US and a lot of major countries, we are going to be introduced with 12 gigabytes of RAM on this device. However, in 3 other countries, some Asian countries, I believe in China, Korea, and there is one more country, I forgot the name, they are getting 16 gigabytes of RAM depending on the variants. And in Korea, they are actually getting 16 gigabytes of RAM with even the 128 gigabyte model. So honestly, I don't really think that's fair. I wish Samsung just gave the same thing to everybody like they are doing with the chipsets, which is something great. This does come with the Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset and the 4 Galaxy version, which is a little more overclocked, and everyone gets that. I wish everyone did get the same amount of RAM. Again, here is a look at our welcome screen. Honestly, this is looking really nice. It's like a sunset. They have all the colors of that. The sun is down here in the sky, and honestly, this is looking really nice. All right, so let's go ahead and go through the setup process. I will probably skip through most of this, and I will also just be setting it up through my S24 Ultra. I do have all my apps on here, and I recently did place my SIM card in here to go ahead and get this updated because I was dailying the 16 Pro for the past couple of months, and so I will just go ahead and transfer everything from that device. Again, like I was saying, I am going to go ahead and use Samsung Smart Switch, which is just going to make everything super easy. Again, you can do this with your iPhone as well or any other Android device. It doesn't specifically have to be your Samsung device, which is really nice. So I'll go ahead and choose my Galaxy or Android device, and once I do scan that QR code, everything should simply transfer over to this device. And here's a look at that pop-up right here, set up Galaxy S25 Ultra, which I will go ahead and do. All right, scanning that QR code. Now that the devices are connected, it actually went ahead and scanned the phone, and now it is asking to copy data from your Android device. It will allow you to choose what you want to copy. I am going to copy everything, but I will go ahead and show that screen for you guys as well. All right, so here's that screen I was talking about. Select data to transfer. You can choose everything, just calls, contacts, and messages, or you can go ahead and do it custom. So in custom, it does allow you to choose the apps, choose the images, choose the videos, choose messages, or you can even go inside of these settings and actually choose specific apps you want to transfer. But since this is my daily driver, from now on, I will go ahead and transfer everything I had on my previous daily driver, the S24 Ultra, so I can use it seamlessly. As you can see, the transfer has started, and once this is complete, I should have everything set up. My home screen layout should be the same, all my messages should be there, and I should be able to use this right away. Again, here's a setup for our biometrics, which I will go ahead and do with you guys after the setup is complete. While the transfer is going on, here's a look at everything that is new. So again, a lot of things about AI this year, not really too many things different compared to the S24 Ultra in terms of hardware, and honestly, in terms of software, really not much has changed either. I have been using One UI 7 beta on the S24 Ultra, and a lot of the features that the S25 Ultra has will eventually come to most of those devices over there. So not too many things, which honestly is kind of a bummer. But again, let's go and wait for this to set up, and after that I will kind of go through the settings and talk a little more about these specs that we have with this phone. Okay, so the transfer is continuing in the background, but while that's happening, we are actually able to take a look at the settings of this phone. So quickly talking a little bit about this display. Again, we do have a tad bit larger display this year. We do have a 6.9-inch display, which is similar to the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Again, not too bad. It's not too much bigger than the 6.8 that we had, but it is nice to have. Plus, we do have a nicer design in my opinion. Some people do think it doesn't look as premium. However, I do think it's a lot more comfortable, especially with the edges being curved. It will not hurt your palm anymore. That is one of the biggest issues I had with the S24 Ultra. After a certain while of using that device, especially one-handed, it really does hurt your hand. But again, now with this newer design, and honestly better feeling design, I don't really think that's going to be an issue. One thing that was actually downgraded is going to be the S Pen. This year the S Pen does not come with Bluetooth, so they did actually go ahead and remove the Bluetooth on the S Pen, which is really annoying. But according to Samsung, less than 1% of the users were actually using the Bluetooth. I really didn't use it too much. I did sometimes use it to take pictures, which was really nice when I actually needed to do it. But again, even though not a lot of people use it, I don't really think that should have been something they actually downgraded. And that is something that's really annoying. I am hearing that a lot of people think they will actually go ahead and remove it next year. The S Pen might not even be a thing anymore, but I hope that's not the case. Hopping into our settings, let's go ahead and start with our Galaxy AI. So again, a lot of things with AI, most of these we already did read, but again, you're still able to see everything inside of the settings. We also do have this setting right here, which does say process data only on device. This is something I actually went ahead and turned on last year with my S24 Ultra. Again, this will actually limit some of the AI features. However, if you don't want them being sent over to servers and then coming back to you to actually process most of these things, you are able to turn that on. So let's go ahead and actually turn that on for my device and then continue with our settings. Going into our display settings, here we do have our dark mode settings, our brightness, adaptive brightness, which I do have turned on, motion smoothness, obviously 120 hertz, and then it does go down all the way to 1 hertz with the adaptive mode, or you can go ahead and switch to standard. I guess you might save some more battery, but honestly it's not really needed. We do have our eye comfort shield, which is set to adaptive because I did have that turned on previously. Go ahead and turn it off for the sake of the video. Screen modes, we can choose from vivid and natural. I'll go ahead and keep it on vivid. I really do love the vivid mode. However, if you do edit a lot of photos, you can go ahead and switch into the natural mode, which is something I do when I'm actually editing photos on this device. We do have our font size and style. Go ahead and keep this on default. Move on, we can change our screen resolution to 3120 by 1440, which is something I recommend to a lot of people. A lot of people won't really notice it, but again, I do want to actually be able to use the full resolution on the phone. That should be able to give that out to me. Our camera cutout, we do have some settings where we can hide that camera cutout. I don't recommend it. You do use a lot of real estate. Moving on to our battery, this year again we do have a 5000 milliamp hour battery, so they still haven't upgraded the battery, unlike OnePlus where they have brought in new battery tech, and they've also put in a 6000 milliamp hour battery into this device right here. And as you can see, there really isn't too much of a size difference between these two. The OnePlus is actually a tad bit smaller, so I don't really see a reason why Samsung couldn't do it, but they are claiming that it does get better battery life, and I have seen some battery tests where it actually does surpass the S25 Ultra because of the new chipset and how efficient it is. Again, we can move away from our battery settings. We do have our battery protection, but I don't really use that because I do switch these devices year round. But if you do plan on using these long term, which is what a lot of people will be doing, you can, if you want, choose to use those battery protection settings. Moving on from our settings, I do want to hop into our camera real quick. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Again, we do have the new layout, which did come with One UI 7. If you did have the chance to use One UI 7 beta on another one of your Samsung devices, then you probably do know most of this layout. But again, they did make it a little more simple, and honestly, I do like this layout. It's a lot easier to access. They do have a lot of the controls on the bottom, so you're able to change your megapixel, for example, really quickly from down here. And again, we do have our main 200 megapixel sensor. We have a 10 megapixel telephoto and a 50 megapixel periscope telephoto. Plus, we do have that new 50 megapixel ultra wide angle, which is really nice. So we do have an upgraded ultra wide angle lens. But other than that, we don't really have much that has changed in terms of hardware. A lot of the processing has changed with the cameras, so even though it's the same hardware, we will be getting better photos in most cases, I'm guessing. However, it would have been nice to see some new hardware with these devices. We still do have a 12 megapixel selfie camera, so we can choose our tone right here, warm or natural. If we do move on to our video settings, we can go up to full HD, or we can go up to 4K 60 with our selfie, and then we can turn on our HDR, turn it off, which is really nice that it's that simple. We can also do that with our front camera right here or our rear cameras. We can go up to 8K 30 FPS, which is really nice, but I would go ahead and keep it at 4K 30 frames per second, and just like that, we are able to turn off and turn on HDR. We still do have all these settings right here. We have our Pro Video, we have our Expert RAW, which is really nice to see, our portrait video as well, but from our basic settings, those are gonna be it. Last but not least, let's actually go ahead and register our face and also our fingerprint. So we do have a 2D face unlock, however, it is pretty secure. I haven't really had any issues with it. And then we do have our more secure ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, which is going to be the better option for a lot of people. So starting off with the fingerprint, go ahead and continue, register. Let's go ahead and place our finger inside the circle. Go ahead and lift it. Once we are done, go ahead and change where we place our finger. Try and get everything registered on our thumb. And then if you do register your thumb multiple times, that is usually preferred. It does work a lot better, but I don't really see a need for that. And again, you can add more fingers if you want. However, that is going to be it for now. And then let's actually go ahead and register our face right after. So face recognition, go ahead and continue, register, position your face in the frame. Go ahead and look up. And then take off my glasses, continue. And it is done. So really nice and easy, and they have added some more steps, so you actually have to lift your face, take off your glasses. Before, they really didn't have that. You would just look at the camera and it would just scan. I guess this is a little more secure now. And then we do have some settings like brighten your screen, require open eyes, stay on lock screen until swipe. I do keep this on so I can see my notifications in my lock screen once I do unlock it. So let's go ahead and close our phone and actually test that out. So here's our face unlock, really nice and easy. And again, here is that now brief down there. Again, if we do go ahead and close it and use our fingerprint, go ahead and use it on the always on display. Really nice and fast. That is really good. So no issues with that. Other than that, I think that is gonna wrap it up for this device. Not really much else to talk about right now. I will actually make a longer review on this device once I do have the chance for using this a couple of days. But for now, as my first impressions, it's a really nice device. It's a really complete device, but it's not better than the S24 Ultra in a lot of ways. Honestly, I don't really think it's worth the upgrade, even from the S23 Ultra. But again, this is still a very complete device. One of the main reasons why a lot of people don't like this device this year is because of the fact that it hasn't really added much compared to the previous generation. But again, that does not make this a bad phone. This is still a great device. It's a great all-rounder. It's able to do everything just like the S24 Ultra was able to do. However, it's just more refined, and it is better in a lot of those aspects. So that is basically gonna wrap it up for this video. As always, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and see y'all in the next one.